Yo, what's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, I want to take a look at PFF's latest mock draft, and you Vikings fans are going to love who they had them selecting at pick number 11. Then second half of today's show, just 5 random thoughts I have on the Minnesota Vikings. Weird time in this franchise's history, so I just want to give you guys 5 thoughts that I just randomly came up with today on the second half of today's show. But let's take a look here at PFF's 2026 NFL mock draft. And they start off with an absolute blockbuster. They actually had the Los Angeles Rams trading up with the New York Giants to land Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Now, obviously, the Rams, they got the Falcons pick in last year's draft, so they're slated at number 9, but they got them trading up all the way up to number 1. And then they had the Raiders taking quarterback Dante Moore, Arvell Reese, edge rusher from Ohio State going to the Titans, Jordan Tyson, Stephon Diggs clone going to the Cleveland Browns, and Reuben Bain, Cassius Howell, Mekhi Lemon, Francis Mauaga, and Carnell Tate, and then Peter Woods. So if you guys see there, Caleb Downs did not go in the top 10, and that's who they had, the Minnesota Vikings drafting as Ohio State safety, Caleb Downs. Now, this would be an absolute dream for me. I think Caleb Downs is the best defensive player in college football right now. If you made an argument to me, I think he is the best player in college football. I could hear you out on that. This guy's absolutely unbelievable. He is a physical freak. He's a physical football player. And you know who would love this pick the most? Is Brian Flores. This would be a complete dream pick for him because, number one, he's extremely versatile. You can play him in the slot corner, free safety, strong safety. You can play Mike, Will, linebacker. It really does not matter. He could play defensive end. I mean, look at the way this man is built. He is cut up, super strong, super athletic, and this would be a home run pick for the Vikings. Now, I do have some doubts about him, falling out of the top 10, but, safeties normally don't really go too high in the NFL draft, so I could see the Vikings striking gold here at pick number 11. But this is what PFF had to say on their reasoning on the Vikings drafting Downs, saying Downs is one of the best players in this draft class and will likely be a consensus top 5 prospect on big boards. But how do you draft a safety? Or how high do you draft a safety? Kyle Hamilton went number 14 overall, and Antoine Winfield Jr. was a second-round pick, and both are among the best in the league. Both those guys should have been Vikings, by the way. They had a big chance to draft them. Obviously ended up not doing that, and then they also said Minnesota could easily covet a player like Downs, especially given how versatile he would be on the back end of a Brian Flores defense. And even though the season has been incredibly disappointing as Vikings fans, if we somehow ended up with Caleb Downs, it would make it all worth it, kind of. I mean, obviously, still this was a season from hell, but if you said, hey, the Vikings are going to have a terrible season, but at the end of the year in the draft, you would get Caleb Downs. I guess I would not be too upset about that, but I also doubt he falls to number 11. Now, I think, obviously, GMs aren't going to love taking a safety in the top 10 because if you take a safety in the top 10, you have to be very, very, almost 100% certain that this guy is going to be a for sure home run safety. I'm talking all pro level, not even just making, Pro Bowls. You got to be one of the best safeties in the league to take him top 10. I think Caleb Downs would do it. I would take Caleb Downs top 5. If you told me the Vikings would, and it's not going to happen, somehow ended up with the 3rd or 4th pick in the draft, I would be cool with taking a safety that high because I think he is the best player in this draft class. I think he is that special, and if he would somehow fall to pick number 11, it would be an awesome draft pick for the Minnesota Vikings if Kwesi would end up drafting him. But you guys get down in the comments for me and give me those me's down below if you guys want Caleb Downs to be a Viking. He would look awesome in the purple and gold, repping that number 2. Take that number off Isaiah Rodgers' back, and that would be awesome. So if you guys want Caleb Downs to be a Viking, give me those me's down below. Now, quick little thought here. I was thinking about the Vikings, and I had this thought on live stream recently. With the Vikings at pick number 11, and with maybe a team like the Titans at pick number 3, or maybe a team like the Browns, or one of these teams that could need a wide receiver, would you trade Jordan Addison to move up and draft Caleb Downs? Now, my answer to that would be I would consider it. Now, this would not be like a definite yes or a definite no. If I was running the Minnesota Vikings, this would take me weeks to think about because, one, there are a lot of pros of trading a guy like Jordan Addison. And I think the number 1 pro would be, one, you don't need to pay Jordan Addison, who he's probably going to want to covet around $28 to $30 million per year. That's a going rate for a wide receiver of his caliber. And, I think just having that pro where you could go spend those resources somewhere else, maybe get another center, maybe get another tight end, running back, or whatever position of need you may have. And then also maybe that would change the Vikings' offensive philosophy because I find it hard to believe that KOC is going to change regardless, but maybe if he doesn't have 2 elite wide receiver talents, that would force him to run the football more And this last one, wide receivers are just easily replaceable. Like, we see this all the time in the NFL. Like, an Emeka Ibuka hits, like a random guy in the 3rd round, the 4th round, they just hit, at a higher rate than other positions in the league. Also, I think it's easier for teams to scout wide receivers where, and also I will give the Vikings credit. They have had great wide receivers in the franchise's history. I mean, going back from Moss and Carter to the Diggs and Thielen days, to the Thielen and Jefferson days, and now to the Jefferson and Addison days. Like, the Vikings have been able to find wide receivers pretty easily. But also with Addison, like, even if they do decide to keep him and they make him play out on that, they pick up that 5th-year option, make him play out the next 2 years. Like, I doubt the Vikings consider paying Addison this offseason heading into year 4, which I think is the right move because, 1, Addison has not had that good of a year for his standard. 2, he's had the off-the-field stuff. And, 3, you got to pay him a boatload of money. So I doubt the Vikings pay him this offseason. Now, maybe they do if they really do view Addison as a long-term fit and they're like, hey, let's try to lock him up now before the wide receiver market explodes. But I would be open to trading Addison, but you guys let me know your thoughts. Would you trade Jordan Addison? Give me a T for trade. Give me a P for pass. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. If it's a trade up for Caleb Downs, I would have a long conversation about that. You guys let me know your thoughts. T for trade, P for pass. All right, coming up next here on the show, I just want to get you guys 5 random thoughts on the Minnesota Vikings. Should be a little fun. Fun second half of the video, so stay tuned for that. But before we do so, I got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and it is a shaving company called Harry's. And for a limited time, our listeners can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/chat. Now, the Harry's Plus isn't just a razor. It's a centerpiece of a full grooming lineup from shave gel to body wash, all designed with the same attention to detail. And everything from Harry's is delivered straight to your door. From Harry's own factory to your own bathroom, there's no middlemen, no markups, just premium gear on your schedule. Now, I've tried other razors in the past, and I never really found a razor that I fully love. Some of them irritated my neck way too much, and also the razors would just become way too dull, way too fast, but that's not the case at Harry's at all. And especially the Harry's Plus, it completely changed how I view shaving my face almost every single day. Got great control over the handle, and this is actually the biggest launch in the history of their company is the Harry's Plus. So make sure you guys check them out. Link for that would be in the comments section and description of today's show. And for a limited time, our listeners can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/chat. This set includes all new Harry's Plus razor, 1 refined 5-blade cartridge, a 2-ounce foam and shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Just head to harrys.com/chat to claim this offer. And after you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you here at Vikings Now by Chat Sports. All right, let's close it out. 5 random thoughts that I have on the Minnesota Vikings. Again, a weird part of this history of this Vikings franchise. You're coming off a 14-win season. The season's been awful, and you just blew out the Commanders 31-0. Weird football team, weird franchise. So I got 5 thoughts here, and we're going to start off with the quarterback position. I'm not moving on my J.J. McCarthy take. I think he is still the franchise quarterback. And honestly, full transparency here, like, I want him to be the guy so bad. And it's probably clouded my judgment on him. He's an extremely likable kid. He works his ass off. Went to my high school. Like, I'm going to root for this kid no matter what. And I think he can be the franchise guy. He's got the talent. Vikings fans got to be patient with him. The arm talent is there. The mobility is there. Him between the ears is also there. It's just going to take some time. And, what a fantastic comeback story from him being like the meme of the year, like the 9 jokes. If he could somehow turn out to be a franchise quarterback and put all that to rest, like, it would be awesome because people were calling him the biggest bust in NFL history after 6 starts. Like, it would be an awesome comeback story, and he had a great start against the Washington Commanders. But how about Jalen Redmond? Top 5 player on this Vikings roster, and he better get paid. Now, the Vikings do have his bird rights this offseason, so they can have some team control over him. But he better get paid because I would be willing to cut Hargrave and Allen if it meant we could keep Jalen Redmond. But I'm assuming the Vikings are already reaching out to his representation, trying to get a deal done. But he's probably going to want a whole lot more than they're going to offer, and he deserves probably a whole lot more than the Vikings are going to offer him. So he better get paid. And also another positive of the season, Will Reichard. The dude's awesome. I love his vibe. Like, he's got a Walmart sponsorship. He's just nails when kicking field goals as well. Like, the dude's sick. Will Reichard's sweet. Like, I would love to get a Will Reichard jersey. It might be my next purchase for a Viking jersey. I love his swagger. I love his personality. Seems just like a like just a normal dude who's just kicking 60-yard bombs. So Will Reichard, you're dope. Appreciate you. But some negative here. Will Fries, his contract's a problem. 5 years, $88 million for a guy who's been the 40th best guard in the National Football League this year. He might be a problem. Like, this might be a contract we're looking back on here in a couple years, especially since it's backloaded, so the cap hits are going to get higher and higher. We're like, okay, that's an issue. But this last one here, I miss Xavier Rhodes. I know this might be completely random, but I was just looking at the Vikings offseason. I'm like, man, they got a big-time need at corner. Obviously got a need at safety after Harry hangs them up. I just miss having that true lockdown corner. Like 2017 prime Xavier Rhodes, man. I will always say it. He is one of the best football players I've ever watched. Like, he completely changed that Zimmer defense. We're like, Zimmer, like, he got so creative that year, especially with, like, I mean, if you guys remember, like, Zimmer was a huge half-field guy where it'd be like, all right, half the field, it's Xavier Rhodes on the top wide receiver, and that's it. And then the other half of the field would be some exotic zone with some exotic blitz coming off. Like, that Zimmer defense was awesome, and a big reason for that was because of Rhodes. I just miss him, man. I mean, Rhodes closed. You guys remember that one Monday night game against the Giants where he was putting his arm around OBJ? He was getting in his head. Like, man, number 29 was one of my favorite Vikings players of all time. But let me ask you guys this. With the Vikings, being 5-8, 1% chance to make the playoffs here, what would you do for the Vikings to make the playoffs? You guys let me know your thoughts down below, and we'll get on out of here. As always, let's go Vikes.